Welcome to the Sacred Rebellion, the space where truth isn't filtered, it's sovereignty. It's sacred. And rebellion is a return to self. This isn't just a podcast, it's a remembering, where here we break through the trance of comfortability, reclaim our gifts, and rise as the embodiment rebels we are born to here to be. Here we journey with wild hearts, way showers, visionaries who choose their truth over comfort, their missions over fear, and their soul over the system. This is where the coded ones come to speak, the ones who didn't fit in because they were never meant to, and the ones who turn their pain into power. And their story is their medicine. So drop in, take a breath, and let's remember who we truly are, one sacred rebellion at a time. Today, I'm honored to welcome a true force of light. Beck, also known as Rebekah, is a visionary oracle, high priestess, soul catalyst, best-selling author, alchemist, activator, and creatrix. She is deeply devoted to walking the path of the divine love and has made it her sacred mission to pave radiant pathways of light for others to walk behind. Her presence is an invitation to remember. Through her work, she facilitates profound soul remembrance and guides others home to their sacred gifts, activating the truth, wisdom, and divinity that already lives within. This is more than a conversation, it's a transmission. Beck, welcome to the Sacred Rebellion.
Thanks for having me. Wow, it sounds nice when you say it back to me. I'm like,
Yeah. It's so good to connect. Beck and I have met once before with, we were supposed to do a project together and we've just, kind of went separate ways and now our, paths have recrossed. So yeah, welcome to the show.
it's time. I feel like we weren't ready for each other then. We went on our little journeys and we've come back wiser for it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Anyways, kind of just tell me a little bit about yourself. Where did you start in your journey?
Yeah, awesome. Oh God, what a loaded question. I think my journey has been long-winded story, but like it always came from this burning feeling or sense or knowing inside this voice from a very young age that was like, there's something that you need to remember. There's something that you need to remember. There's this thing you like promised you would do. Remember what it is. And my search for this thing, this sense of there being more than what I was accessing or more than what I was feeling, or there has to be fucking more than this. Like there has to be more than what we're told there is, right? And I have always been a rebel. I've got like a lot of Aquarius in my chart. Never liked being told what to do. Never liked following rules. I was a little shit growing up. So I was very, very against the way things were. I was always rebelling against the status quo. And I always felt very depressed and really struggled to be in and of this world. It was a very hard slog for me to even get out of bed some days. So I was going through some very heavy mental health issues from the age of like 15 on maybe even 14 onwards. And it was coming to a point in my like early 20s where it was like, if I don't change something, if I don't do something, if I don't discover this thing that's like calling me, but I don't know what it is, I'm gonna like end my life. Like it was that dramatic of like I can't be here another day without this pain inside me, right? So then that put me on this long journey of kind of self-awareness. I started in the psychology and that way mindset. From coaching, I then got into healing when I started kind of moving towards this direction of being a coach. Kept getting these messages from people that I would encounter. You're a healer, you're a shaman, you're an intuitive. And at this point, I hadn't really connected much to that aspect. And kind of it just kept knocking on the door and knocking on the door and knocking on the door. And one day in this like rock bottom moment, I kind of threw my hands up and I said, God, if this is my path, if I'm this healer that everyone says that I am, show me, right? And then from that, it was like a rapid awakening, rapid unfolding. I had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, which is super debilitating and super confusing, but it also was very powerful. I started remembering all my past lives. All these gifts started coming online for me. I was in the process of, for the past 4 years, kind of only really wrapped up midway last year as I was writing my book, of this very intense karmic contract clearing and soul clearing from like lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of trauma and karma that I've accrued. So that kind of came into completion. And since then, it's just been really like forward focused. How am I serving? How am I showing up as an embodiment of the divine in everything that I'm doing? And how can I inspire others to do the same? So that's kind of like in a nutshell, my experiences. I could elaborate, but I'll spare you
Yeah.
the deep.
I actually love that. That's a very similar to my awakening experiences. The depression really,
Yeah.
I mean, and each child I had, that depression just got deeper and deeper, and I was ignoring gifts, and a lot like you, like kind of the awareness of not being, societal fit in, and like kind of seeing the writing on the wall aspects of just questioning things, even at a very young age. And so I love that because I can really resonate with that of the depression. And that's, I think a lot of us people who are highly gifted, it's almost like they have to shove us so far down in the darkness for us to be able to really articulate and embody that aspect of the shadow, right? And then embody the light. And so that leads me to my next question. How did you discover your soul mission? And how did you discover your soul's medicine? I would love to hear that.
Cool. It's awesome. And it's like just really, it's funny. This morning I was sitting with, so the first ever experience, I guess, that I put through people through in my healing journey was a program called Rebirth. And it's this journey to like to the depths of the underworld, to reclaim all your soul gifts and like clear up all your like basically the journey that I went on. And it's coming back around. And like I haven't run this since 2021. So it's been like a long time. And Spirit said to me recently, like literally like 2 weeks ago, it's time to run Rebirth again. And so it's that process. And I'm like, why? Like I've moved past that. And there's like, no, but there's still people who need that. Like they need that medicine. So my medicine is essentially walking people to the depths of the underworld and going into the gritty, dirty, horrible, painful, the fucking trauma, the ancestral stuff, the past life wounding, the this life wounding, all the conditioning, and liberation is like on the other side of that. Because I think there's a lot of people on this path who want to bypass the pain, they want to bypass the darkness, they want to bypass the suffering. But actually, that's like no mud, no lotus, right? Like, that's for
Yep.
me where all the gold is, where the alchemy is. That's where all my gifts were held, like in the deepest pain and suffering and like days on the floor crying. And that was where I discovered my gifts. So when this spontaneous awakening happened, what was happening is I was going to these places where I was experiencing all the pain of the lifetimes where I've been burnt at the stake for being a witch, like all the witch woundy stuff, we've all been through it. Yeah.
Yeah, is that
And
the truth?
yeah, I was remembering. So it was like I'd experienced the pain of it. I'd be like, fuck, I don't want to do this again. God, no, why? Like all my God stuff was coming up. But then it was like I would reconnect to those gifts and they would come online. So it's like the more I was clearing I don't want to do this again. This was painful and horrible every time I've done it. Oh, look, it's all the lifetimes where I've been an asshole and abused my gifts. They're going to come up now. And like I have to like trust myself to be in integrity, be in my heart. So it was like
Yeah.
the more I'd clear the rubble, the more I would clear the separation, I'd clear the wounding, I'd clear the distortions, the purer my channel became, the more light could come in, and the more divinity I was holding in my cells to be able to like to I would say like admit that. Not even through my work, but just through my essence. And so that's my gift. It's like being a vessel, being a pure channel for this is the journey. Like I've paved this path, I've walked it. And now let me hold the light for you to do the same and reclaim yourself in that way. And I think because of the way that I did it, like head first in there for years, like in the trenches, it's paved an easier way for people forward now. Because I think there was those of us on the front lines going through this really intense, like healing process where now it's like doesn't need to be that difficult because we've kind of like already embodied and paved that pathway. You know what I'm saying? Like now it's like, let me take your hand. I'll take you into the shadow because I'm a fucking master of the underworld now. And I got all the cheat codes. Like we're going to still go there. Like you can't just bypass it, but we're going to go there and we're just going to look and then we're going to collapse the stuff because I've got the cheat codes from my experience. So that's kind of like what my role is now. But it's not just like once I moved out of those shadow and underworld realms, it then was started to be like the higher realms, the heavenly realms, the angelic realms, like bringing people into their cosmic awareness and, activating their diamond light body or their Christos Sophia body, all these things. That's kind of started to come through. The more like, I guess you want to say galactic or cosmic stuff has started to come through. But also like mystery school lineages. Yeah, it's just remembering really. It's just remembering. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and what I was going to say is that I feel like a lot of us that are trailblazers have kind of had this awakening from probably around 2012 to probably like 2023, where we really just, I don't know how long you've been on this mission, but that's about my extent of mission. And the thing is a lot of us have had to literally fly a plane, blind and essentially be like, okay, this doesn't work, but this worked. This doesn't work, but this works. And we often, as trailblazers, we're not here to do what, the typical healer is doing, right? Like for me, I took one class of Reiki and I was like, I thought everybody knew how to do this. Like, this is a class. Okay. It's like those different healing aspects of, I don't know about you, but like for me, it was just this huge experience of being able to, honestly, I loved your terminology of like cheat code because that's how you're taught something, but then you're like, but this isn't working, right? Like I've got to maneuver this one way to another and not necessarily use what someone else told me how to do because it's not going to work for someone like us. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
exactly. Yeah, and it's also like the words that were coming through when you were speaking was self-initiation. We've been self-initiated on this journey because we haven't had people that have walked the same path as us. And so our initiation's been a direct line initiation from spirit. And that's because we're here to birth modalities, pave pathways, bring back ancient wisdom and knowledge that's been lost. So yes, there are these modalities and these training programs and these things that other people have been doing, but to us, it's like, like, this feels constrictive. This feels like yeah, like you're putting me in a box and you're trying to squeeze my but my soul medicine is so much more expansive than that. And I think that's really what is called for at the moment, instead of trying to like jam people into modalities or cookie cutter pathways, like and this is something that I admire about you, is like you said this to me and I'm the same. We're here to help people awaken their unique soul magic, because all of us have all these different DNA strands from all these different places, all these different soul memories. And some of us are bringing through stuff that like literally no one has seen on this planet before, because it's so ancient or it's so galactic that it just hasn't been experienced before. And so if we're trying to jam ourselves into a structure or system that someone else has created for us, we're not going to fit into that, right? We're here to pave our own path and be visionaries. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love how, I have a certification and a lot of times when I teach the certification, they're like, "Well, I want a script or I want this." I'm like, "Nope. Nope. I'm teaching you basic foundational skills that I want you to take and freaking run with." Because that's what makes a good teacher is someone who's willing to teach foundational aspects of quantum healing or moving energy or moving elementals or weaving light, which is something that I do a lot of. Teaching foundational aspects of something and then be like, okay, now that you know how to do this or recode your subconscious, now I want you to figure it out on your own, and that's where a lot of us leaders are at right now. I think in our ascension journey is we know we know our medicine, we know our shadows, we can name them out. And we also are going to alchemize the shit out of anything that comes forward and understand how to process it in literally light speed. And I think that's the difference between a lot of us that are taking the next step forward is this next awakening that people are going to experience. Those old modalities, they've been distorted. And I love how you said the cookie cutter healer, because that is so big right now in the spiritual community. And that is one thing that I have never been. And that's why I don't typically do a lot of like social gatherings, because, I'm the one that's like, no one sees the distortion that's happening here. No one's seeing no one's seeing this. Wait, what's happening here? What? Nope, nope, no, they're not seeing it. And so it's like a lot of us rebels are the ones that are going to speak out. And I love like your posts and stuff that you post about the cookie cutter healer and, really just magnetizing the distortion that's happening in the spiritual community. And I just want to tell you that I appreciate your voice, and I love that you're using your voice to really call that out, because we have to start calling it for what it is.
I think it's a move into, for me, it's a move into sovereignty. And I think, and I just want to say, like, for the record, I think it's so important to have, it's like, not even like we don't need to have mentors, but it's so important for us to have like a real embodiment of what we're teaching, whether that's through our own mastery or going to someone. Like, it's not just like, oh, I'm a healer now because I had one activation. Like, that's also very harmful, because like, oh, fuck, I did it at the start too, babe. Like, I think we all at some point
Yeah.
were channeling entities thinking that it was Jesus. That's the reality.
This is a galactic. This is the 8D
Yeah.
Pleiadians.
But that's discernment. And the sovereignty piece comes from going through, and this is for me, like the reason I learnt discernment was because I went into someone's mentorship or whatever, Galactivator, and got all my energy siphoned and all these horrible things happen. And then I had to learn, hey, hold on a second. Why are you the teacher? And why am I trusting you above my own intuition and my own gnosis and my connection with the divine? So then that opened up a further channel for me to be fully God led, fully source led, fully like, yeah, gnosis, embodiment, like, and not teaching things that I haven't actually anchored through my experience. Because I think the new way forward is it's not really about teaching, it's about exchanging energy and activating people just through your beingness, just through your, like, I've anchored this and I've embodied, like, I fucking rebirth is my core. Liberation is who I am. Like, I don't have to talk about it. I don't have to, like, people feel that essence from me and it triggers some people and they hate me for it. And then other people are like, hell yeah, I'm going to get on that train. Whatever she's having, I want it.
I want to
Like
be on
that.
your train. I want to be on your
Yeah.
train.
That's what we're moving towards. And so if we're just learning modalities and ticking boxes and like, I'm going to take what this person says and do it to the letter, then that's not really an embodiment. We're just regurgitating information. And that's, yeah, I just feel like that's also not sovereign because there's no space for divine inspiration, for our own souls, ways, codes, ways of doing it, which could be better to come through. Yeah, if you want to run with that or if you've got any commentary to add.
Yeah, no, I love that because like I said, I mean, I don't know if you know a little bit about me, but I have a college degree in teaching. Like I taught little children, right? And so I know teaching's kind of my, teaching people those aspects of it. And I can totally agree with you. Like I learned hypnosis, I very much stuck to it. And then all of a sudden I'm seeing entanglements and I'm seeing cords and I'm seeing entities and I'm like, but I can't put my fish in their dream. And then I was like, nah, I'm gonna break the rules. I'm just gonna start untangling and I'm gonna start doing moving energy and moving it. And I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have a mentor. Like I didn't have a mentor. So for a lot of it was just kind of like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm gonna start unhooking things that don't look like they should be there. This feels sticky, this feels hot, this, because I'm very clairsentient. So for me, it was kind of like figuring it out just directly through the channel and really trusting, am I seeing what I'm actually seeing? Am I feeling what I'm actually feeling? But on the second note, when you said having someone siphon your energy, I feel like many of us, especially me, and I love that you brought this up, was that's probably still today one of the things when I get in someone's field, I'm like, just in like society, right? I'm like, whoo, someone's energy just came into my field. And then having to protect yourself and essentially constantly that constant of, well, I've got to really protect my energy. I've got to really protect my field. Who am I interacting with? Who am I exchanging energy with? Who am I letting in my field? And I don't know about you, but like, it's not super often that I'm like, hey, I need another session from somebody else. It's usually me doing my own work, diving into my own stuff. And very selective people do I let in my field.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm very well, now I've had to be. Yeah. Funny, like I had this experience, I'm gonna call it out, a couple months ago. And I was at a point of like I'm going to this big event. There's like lots of like light workers, healers, whatever, doing activations. I don't really feel called to receive any, but spirit told me to go to one. And I was like, seriously, I don't feel like I feel like this guy's just doing what I'm doing, but I don't need it, but I'm gonna go. Anyway, I went and then it was like a fucking process. And I know why it happened and I understand why it happened, but there was this process of having to like remove all this crap that had been put into my field and all this technology that wasn't, it was like hijacked, shitty, like dark. Ugh. So I had to like go through this huge extraction process just to show me that I could dismantle that. So it's like literally I had to go get infiltrated to then like learn that I could uninfiltrate, also to be able to see it. So it's like I don't bother because it's like I don't want to go through the fallout of having to then do the repair work on my field. But I think it is important to have people to shine the light on things, right? That we can't. Like, I think it's always supportive to have people help us. I think there's a tendency for us to want to be lone wolves. And I guess for the first few years of mine as well, I had no mentor. I was self-initiated, didn't want mentorship, didn't want support, didn't really like trust other healers, that sort of thing. And it can be very isolating. And I think it's also it is, in a way, it can be a trap, like when we're very isolated, because then we become a target, right? Like, especially if we've got a lot of light, then we become a target. It's like, oh, she's isolated. We're going to implant her with negative thoughts and like siphon her and make her go crazy. And I'm saying this because that was part of my experience, like demonic attacks and entities and that sort of thing, because I was isolated and because I wasn't getting support. So I think we all need support, whether that's just a friend or like someone gifted who we can talk to. But there's also, I think we're all learning this line between sovereignty and support. Like that it's a balance, not giving your power away. I've had dynamics or relationships with like gifted friends who are super psychic and they're just like taking it upon themselves to tell me this and this and this and this and this. And I've just been like, great, amazing, all the confirmations, my validation. And then that person's turned around and flipped the whole fucking script and then decided the opposite, right? So it's like if we're giving our power away too much, that's what happened. And I've had to go through that initiation many times to be like, okay, taking everything with a grain of salt that someone else presents to me. And what's my truth? Where's my truth? Recently, I've been working with someone, and sometimes she says, like, she's very gifted. She'll say some things, and I'll be like, I'm not sure about that. I'm going to have to sit with what you've just said. I'm not just taking something for face value anymore. And I think that's really important for us to be always like sitting with ourselves. Yeah, we can have support. Yes, we can take on feedback, but sitting with myself and like, is that your reflection? Is that your projection, or is that the truth of who I am? And if I knew myself, and this comes down to like actually fucking knowing yourself. Because I think the difference is, and this is what I see, and I can feel the dark goddess wanting to call some shit out as per usual. But in this industry of people who are really evolved and really high level quantum, whatever, masters, starseed light workers, is they don't have the willingness to actually look at themselves and identify, this is my projection, this is my wound, this is my whatever, and they're just projecting outwards, oh, it's you that's like infiltrated, or it's you that's bad, or it's you that. And like, I'm always, whenever something comes up, the first thing I do is I look inside and I say, okay, where could I have created this? What part of this is me reflecting back to me? And then if that's clear, I'm like, okay, that's that fucking other person. It's not me. Like, that's, my stuff. But I think the problem is spiritual ego, particularly if you're gifted or activated, or you think you're a master, which you probably are. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're fully in your heart and you're fully self-aware, because you can access and activate all these higher faculties without being a decent human. And I've seen that because I've been attacked by people like that, right? So like the level of activation or mastery that someone has in quantum realms or cosmic realms doesn't necessarily equate to their ability to have self-awareness and take care of their human and humility. Big one, humility. I think that's a really big thing that I've seen. It's like so many people forgetting to have humility and check themselves, and that's been definitely I've kind of like had to have humility by being knocked on the head so many times now. So it's like I'm probably going too far the other way where I know my power, but it's like I'm very careful to speak it out loud because I don't ever want to go through the experience of then having to be humbled again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what I'm hearing is like, I notice a lot in the spiritual community. A lot of us healers have those self abandonment wounds. And so it's almost like we seek that external validation of, almost stroke the ego to be able to justify how powerful or how great or how gifted we can be, right? Because a lot of it, I mean, I don't know about you, but I was gifted my life. And so a lot of that was gaslighting, right? And so for me, my checkpoint is like, if I feel an emotional aspect of feeling an energy, I'm going, okay, is this mine? Is this myself? And a lot of us healers, probably are a little bit overgivers when we're really heart-centered people. I'm extremely heart-centered and very sensitive, are obviously super clairsentient. And the more I unlock and pull the masks and dive deeper, it's that clairsentient just gets higher and higher. And honestly, I'm at this point, I'm like, please, no more. Like, I would like to just stay this. I don't need to feel everybody's garbage. I don't need to hear their thoughts. Like, I just want to kind of go into public sometimes and just be normal, right? Sometimes I just want to go to the grocery store and I don't need to hear their thoughts or their conversation. Just like to turn the radio a different knob, right? And so I love how you're checking yourself, because not everybody is like that, right? And it also roots back to like that emotional maturity of being able to really dive into who am I, and being aware that like, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm like, everybody has distortion in their field. Everybody's got something that you're going to miss that someone else can see that you're going to not be aware of. But the fact of it is, how are you going to take that information if it does resonate, and how are you going to respond? Right. And so I think it's important to have people in your life where you were talking about how you've had healers and then they flip it in the script. And I've totally been there too. But I have a few friends now where I'm like, hey, I was super triggered by this by a friend of mine. Can you maybe see what the root of this is? Because now, and then they can tell me. But the thing is with friends and in healing aspects of things, I want to bring up the form of consent because even though we're psychic as heck, right? And like, someone comes in our field and you're like, oh, yep, I know their name. I know what their life story is. Oh, yep. It's like so loud sometimes. I know you get this. And it's sometimes it's just like, yeah, no, I'm not going to read you because you didn't give me consent. And I actually don't want your opinion. I didn't ask for you to tell me what was going wrong in my life because I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many times that's happened to me. I was told I don't have a mother code one time. And I was like, yeah, I'm a pretty
What
damn
you're
good
hitting,
mom. Just saying.
yeah, what you're
Yeah.
hitting on is okay. And I was going to bring it up before, and I'm glad that you're bringing it up. That like just because you have these gifts and just because you can read things doesn't mean that you should, and doesn't mean that it's your responsibility. And it's really interesting. 2 days ago, I like created all of these different architectures around my field because I'm an activator, right? And so my energy is very activating to people. And I had a couple messages from people, like a client the other day was like, we just connected via text, and she's like, fuck, I'm starting to feel like we got on the call, and she's like, I'm starting to feel the whole room spinning and this and that. And like literally just from you messaging me. And I was like, this is not meant to happen. Like this, firstly, we were getting on a channeling call. It wasn't a healing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just do some work again to just to make sure my field is really locked and cleared, because it's like, just because we can activate, just because we are activating, just because we can read energy, just because we're psychic as fuck doesn't mean it's our A, responsibility, and B, um like place to overstep and do that without consent. I think it's so important. It's so frustrating to me when someone is in my face trying to tell me this, I can see this and this and this, but they're not willing to look at their own stuff. It's like almost like the people who tend to do that are the ones who are always pointing the finger outwards and not looking at their own stuff. And they're the ones that are usually bypassing, is what I've noticed from the past 3 people who've done this to me as friends. And it's like, I need to prove how gifted I am. I need to prove how psychic I am. I need to prove I'm a master. I need to prove that I'm a leader. I need to, and it's just, it's like, what the hell? If you didn't need to prove anything, you could sit there and just receive it and be like, hey, I do have something to offer. Would you like my support? Because I can support, right? And I have friends, like you said, who we have this relationship of just ongoing consent where it's like, I want you to call me out. I fucking want you to call me out. Tell me, am I being, what can you see that I'm missing? That's really important. But to do it to someone without having that relationship first is just really not like it's, yeah, I find it very frustrating and it's crossing boundaries. But I think it's the people who allow that to happen as well. Like that's part of the problem. Like the people who don't have awareness of, or they're like, oh, cool, awesome, great, free reading. And it's like, yeah, but at what cost? At what cost? You know? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no. And it's so fascinating to me is that's been a big thing in my awareness lately is sometimes I don't want you to read me. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I'm not in a space to be in a space of reflection. And it's okay to just be in a space of like I have to just kind of be human today and I'm not really in a space to like self-reflect. I've got a lot going on and then someone throws that at you and you're like, I wonder if that resonates. And that doesn't really resonate for me. And then you say that, and they're like, nope, nope, that's what you have. And I'm like, but I didn't consent for you to read my field. Like you weren't, that's distortion. Reading someone without consent is distortion. And that's when you get a lot of like phantom matrix stuff that comes into fields. And I don't know. Yeah. So I love that we brought that up because I think the awareness of consent, even in our like subconscious and what we're consenting to in our reality is essential. It's essential part of your awakening and awareness is informed consent and also consenting to what you're experiencing?
On the topic of consent, there's also something I'm realizing big time for myself as I step into more like Christ consciousness, more God consciousness, creator consciousness, and less victim mentality. I think a lot of us who are on this path for like a while, we were like the wounded healer, the victim healer, the one going through all the hard initiations and the being beat down and the incapacitation from the activation, all of these things. Whereas I think now that we've matured through that and we've cleared all those contracts, what's available to us now is sovereignty. It's like the capacity to command. So I've just like been crazy out commanding about like I will not ever receive any more activations that my body can't handle. I will not, because I used to have a tendency to just call in all this energy and I couldn't stop it and it was like too much for my body to handle and then I'd be incapacitated. And I can't go back and change that now, and it happened the way that it did. But moving forward, do I want to receive activations in that way? Fuck no. Do I want to get on a client session and be blown out because what they're wanting to bring through for them is like so high that my fucking body struggles to handle it? No. Right? Like I want smooth, gentle, graceful, not in a rush. Like I'm not trying to like get somewhere quicker. So it's like we can command even to our soul teams, to our higher selves. Like we think that there's this hierarchy of, oh, they're above us and they know what's better for me and they know, it's like sometimes they have no fucking idea because they're not human, right? Like, so for instance,
Yeah.
I don't know if they're asking us to do something and it's like, yeah, great, but I actually need to focus on money or like, like creating income to put food on the table right now. So that's just like me going on this like 6-month pilgrimage to Nepal and making no money. Like that doesn't suit me right now. So I'm going to put that on pause and I'm going to request for a different soul mission to drop in, or I'm going to request support for this, right? Or I'm going to request that you stop downloading my diamond light body in this moment because actually I need to focus on something else. So we get to stipulate those things. We don't have to just blindly. Yeah, I think there was this relationship with like our guides, our higher selves, our teams, and us where it was like they were above us. And now we're moving into this new age where there is that hierarchy isn't there. It's like they're there to support us, but we get to command and request and ask. The same thing with like nullifying soul contracts or yeah, it's just like commanding. I've been really into command. Like I command now. It's like I ask for that soul contract to be closed, that thread to be dissolved, and it's dissolved. I ask for people to leave my field and they're gone. And that comes from this certainty and this strength, I think, of coming up through the journey and reclaiming those aspects of soul who are the power, who are the sovereignty, who are God, who are source. You get there because you've cleared all the debris that is preventing you from being a pure channel of source. And then once you're in that energy of sovereign connection with source, of wholeness, then you can just command shit. You can
Yeah.
just ask for things to be done. And
Boom.
it like
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you've seen that too. There's been a kind of
Mhm.
shift in relationship. Like instead of like, what should I do or where should I go? It's like, this is what I would like, or this is what I feel like. And can you give me support or guidance to make that happen? Do you see the shift in energy instead of asking, like, you tell me what I should create or where I should go, or like, what's the next thing for me? Give me a sign. It's like, this is what I want. Help me get it. Or this is the direction I want to move in co-creation, in co-creation with source, with the highest good. Now you make it happen. I'm wondering if you've seen
Yeah.
shift.
Yeah. Yeah. I have seen that. And I've also noticed that I'm not looking for that next dopamine hit of activation. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, oh, I want to really integrate this energy. I don't really want a dopamine hit. I don't need that next step. It's like that searching for that external aspects of ourselves that we don't necessarily have. And so um to me, it's like coming back into that grounded embodiment. And for me, the activations, especially in my clientele, really has came into more feminine energy, kind of like that. A few years ago, I started channeling Lilith, and she's kind of came back into my field the last couple of weeks and really just have this really like, almost like this dark energy and sassiness, but this like light, more of a soft energy and not having to feel like I've got to slam so much freaking light into this person's body or they're not going to come back. It's like almost like that fear based is gone of feeling like I've got to have huge transformation or someone's not going to pay me again. It's like that fear based, right? Where and I resonate with this so much with you is coming from a place of like, how soft can I get into someone's body and move frequency and demand it to move and denounce frequencies and denounce all these negative energies that are coming out and weave this beautiful light into the energy field and really work with like Mary Magdalene of like the red thread of like bringing that into like the womb space and softness and divine feminine and really just holding that energy. I'm not feeling like it has to be so masculine. Like it's got to be very physical. It's got to be very hard. It's got to be this. It's like, no, I'm going to bring in this because the feminine energy really is this like, I'm getting like goosebumps talking about it. It's kind of interesting, but bringing this energy of softness. And really that's where I'm stepping into is like, I don't need to have, can I light code and can I bring a lot of energy and a lot of heat? That's the activations, right? Like that's the activator in us, right? The heat, the hot. But what if I brought in like crystalline codes where they're a little softer and they're a little more intricate, and it can weave little tiny light codes and like almost like little Christmas lights into people's space instead of feeling like I'm gonna take the Zeus and I'm gonna pound this light into your body, you know? So it's like, yeah, I
It's
totally have seen that.
gentler, gentler. And I think that's the way to, like, there's no point. I think talked about this. I've talked about this a lot in content and on one of my podcast episodes, the activation without the embodiment and the integration and the gentle, like going at a rate that your body can handle and like can actually handle and hold healthfully and like anchor, right? And that's something that I think, yeah, like for me, for so long, it was like, and it wasn't conscious, like it was not conscious, but on some level, I had agreed to like this rapid, fast, fucking painful whirlwind activation of being incapacitated. And wow, look at like how incapacitated I am. So powerful. Like, but now it's like, actually, I just want to come home in my body and feel good in my body and have mastery over the energy and understand it and, you know, like be able to function as a human and not have it override. So now it's like this harmony between the human level and the energy, right? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, the
beautiful. I think that's
harmony.
a really
I love that. It's and I feel like even as an energy healer and alchemist, whatever you want to call us, is the balance. It's like the dance right now. Like as the spiritual entrepreneur, is like the masculine has to be really like, almost like the back end of our websites and really move in through the masculine aspects, but also coming from a place of like taking a step back and just observing how the fruits of your labor are coming forward. And I think a lot of us, trailblazers are really in this beautiful dance of harmony of that masculine and feminine was just flowing through. Um, yeah, so it's really interesting that we can hold this inter I when I see it, it kind of looks like a weaving like cord of integrating that beautiful, yeah, it's just this beautiful energy of, I don't know if you've seen this in clients or like in yourself, but for me, it's just been this kind of dance where like, okay, I've got to be really physical today. I've got to do mom things. I've got to do XYZ in my website, where then also I'm going to take a nap today because I'm really just feeling a lot of energy and I'm feeling really expansive right now. And so I'm just in this really beautiful, like, I need to honor myself here, but also I have to move forward. And then I'm going to honor myself here, and then I'm going to move forward. And it's that dance. That's the only thing I keep hearing from spirit. It's like, just keep dancing in the flow of the energies and the light codes and moving forward. And also with going back to what you're saying, I also feel like the ego aspect of healing was like, how much can we wreck our bodies to feel like we're good enough? It's like the
Mm.
good enough exchange, right? I got an activation yesterday. I've slept nonstop, and it's like almost like this hit of better than energy, right? Where I
Uh-huh.
feel like a
How much
lot
can
of
I
us, what's that?
how much can I suffer to prove how worthy I am? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's that inner child, right? Of really holding this energy, but also moving forward of like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that anymore. First of all, I don't have time to just wreck the crack about my body and spirit. Like, I love how you say that you're starting to demand things in your reality. It's like every time something comes, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit right before I go to bed. I'm going to recode, work out these belief systems, and then I'm going to just use like last night I blessed my Stanley with water and drank a bunch of energy, and I'm like, I use this water to finish clearing out my system while I sleep, but I want to wake up refreshed and I do not want to feel wrecked in the morning, right? Demanding that energy, setting the intentions, and really living from a place of, I'm the creator of my reality. I'm going to decide what this looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I completely hear you. And I just want to say it's frustrating if you're hearing this, because I would have heard this maybe a year ago and been like, but it's not that way. Because I had so many soul contracts and like it's like my higher self had to override me because I had certain I had soul contracts. And so there's a stipulation that there are certain soul contracts or dharmic paths or things that we have to experience sometimes that we cannot override, and we must surrender to a higher, and that's just everything that we've said and this also, right? Because I think the opposite extreme is what I've also seen a lot of in this space of, it's almost like spiritual ego. I get my own way. I am a master of my reality and I demand everything now. And God's like, it's not the right timing for you, right? So for me, it wasn't the right timing for me to be able to command things and have I don't know, the resources or the love or whatever it was, because I had to go through the journey I had to go through to open my heart and clear these karmic contracts and whatever it was. So when I was demanding things and feeling like it wasn't happening, it was very frustrating, but it was also the medicine I needed to clear those karmic contracts of suffering. So it's like, if you're hearing this and you're frustrated, I'm telling you, just keep going with what you're going, because eventually those contracts will end. Like, they will end. They have to end. But sometimes there is a divine design to, not the suffering. I don't say the divine to the suffering, but there is a divine purpose for what you're going through to become that diamond, right? Like, the diamond is formed through pressure. And that's what I talk about in my book. Like, the whole book is about the Diamond Light Oracle and how you're forged on this path, which is not, it's not easy. If you're a leader, if you're a visionary, you're going to be going and you're going to be taken through the initiations that are relevant. What's the word? Relative, sorry, not relevant, that are relative to what you have to hold, what you're here to hold, right? So there's a caveat to playing devil's advocate and flipping what we just said on its head, because I think it's important for that as well to be acknowledged of, like, yes, we are so powerful. Yes, we are sovereign creators, but sometimes there are higher purposes, reasons, things that are woven into our life that are, I'm going to say that they're fate, but they are determined by something higher than us, who knows what we're capable of and knows what we're here to do. And even though it doesn't seem kind in the moment, or it seems frustrating or painful, it's exactly the medicine we require. It's like the cruel to be kind, like, we have to go through that to be liberated, to be free. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to like swing. I always tell my client, you have to swing when you set up your first boundary, the first time you ever do it, you're like, this is really uncomfortable. And I'm like, yeah, you kind of have to like swing clear over to the right and then find that out, find that little balance, right? Because if you've been an overgiver, you almost have to like not give it all so that you
Yep.
can find the flow of energy. And I love how you brought that up, because I've had people, they're like, oh, I just awakened and I just got my certification in Reiki and I'm going to make all this money and I'm going to be this massive healer. And I'm like, and when do you plan on doing your shadow work? When do you plan on like diving into your belief system? When you plan on, well, that will just come later. No, no, that's not how it works. Like, you might be great at content creator and you might have a mass following and all these things, but what I have also, I'm going to touch on what you just said, is like, it's almost like a popularity contest, like, but she has 15,000 followers. So her channel's clearer than someone who has 2,000 followers. And it's like this competition. And honestly, like, you're a true trailblazer. You don't give a crap about how many followers you have. You're like, oh no, Source is going to send me whatever I'm supposed to have and what I'm supposed to touch on. And my soul family, right? This is kind of my purpose, is like connecting into that oversoul energy. Well, I couldn't connect to the oversoul if I didn't do my shadow work. You can't connect to those higher dimensional aspects of yours. I mean, you could, but it's going to be super distorted, because you just can't do those things. And so I feel like what you're touching on is like, enjoy the journey. Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
it's hard and you're like under pressure. And listen, I can't tell you how many times I've been in a shower on the floor sobbing my freaking brains out, or I turn to the right and I get a complete download of remembrance of like a horrific life, or being burned at the stake, or all those aspects of myself. But I had to experience those so I could remember who I am at soul level, and not have to
Yeah.
be told I need to be a cookie cutter healer, or, I don't fit into a society. Well, I'm not meant to fit into a society, because I'm here to break the crap out of the matrix, right? That's why this podcast exists, because people are ready to break out, but you have to do the work. Like, you're still human. I love to tell that people, you're still human. Sorry to burst your bubble, but you're still 3D. No matter how much you're here, you're still 3D. You're still in a physical aspect of yourself, and this is what you decided. No matter how uncomfortable the human meat suit is like, you're still human, right? And so I love how you like I love how you brought up, it's like, you have to be under pressure to form something that's beautiful like a diamond, and really understand those crystalline energies. Is you can't. And I see that a lot in spiritual community. It's like, when I do mass meditations, everybody's up here, I'm in the slums cleaning up the dirty crap water, right? It's like, I'm in the shadow, not afraid, like, moving through
There's
it.
a few things that were coming through as you were talking. Firstly, like, a diamond is pure and clean, and there's no distortion, and it reflects source light because it's clean and pure. If you're not doing that inner work, if you're not going through the trenches of whatever it is, you're not showing, you're not It's like you're building your business or your soul mission or your empire based on ego, right? Based on distortion, based on how many likes, how many followers, how much money. For me, the being put on my knees and going through all that shit literally stripped all of that fucking back. So I was actually showing up in service, right? And then when I started showing up in full service, then everything else came. But it was like, nah, that's not going to come until you release the need for followers, for likes, for, validation. And it's interesting because 2 days ago, I was doing clearing of more comparison and scarcity in my field and anchoring. It's not even clearing it. It was like anchoring deeper codes of my soul has a unique frequency and resonance with the people who need it. And that's all that matters. Like, it's not about fame. It's not about a following. It's not about metrics. It's about there is infinite people. The right people are going to find me. And those who aren't meant to find me are going to find someone else. But there's no scarcity. And there's no need to compare myself to someone who's doing something similar to me because we have different codes, right? And my codes are important. Their codes are important. But the higher thing, and this is an activation because I feel it as I'm saying it, is that we're all serving the same purpose. So when we're comparing and we're getting frustrated and we're like, that fucking person is doing better than me, or like they're taking my, it's like, no, we're all, this is actual spiritual maturity, realizing you're all serving the same purpose. We're not in competition with each other because we all have the same end goal. And if you trust that, okay, that person's doing really well, but that doesn't mean that I can't do really well, then there's no need for comparison or scarcity or, and so this is something that I've been really like working with. And it's important to dismantle that stuff because otherwise we're just like a kid having a tantrum and building our businesses based on ego, based on validate me, right? Validate, I want to build my business to make more money. And it's like, is that actually coming from service? Are you really truly creating what source wants to create from you? Is that a sole purpose, or is that just a business, like a turd sprinkled in glitter and you're calling it a trinket like that, right? Is it really a spiritual heart-led business, or is it you're just using spiritual jargon to make money? Like, right? That's a truth bomb right there. Otherwise, if you're not in full service, if you're doing it for validation, that's what I mean. I had to learn that. I'm sure you had to learn that. And that's why we didn't make money, because spirit's like, nah, you've got to fucking learn this and you got to strip that back because you're here to be a leader. So that's the other
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
Hmm.
And you're not here to be a cookie cutter healer.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah.
also not mimics. That's the other thing
Yeah.
too. It's like, go ahead, steal my content. You're not me. That's what I always say. And someone's like, hey, they stole your content. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for stealing my comment. Now the word's just gonna get out even further. It's fine. Like what is meant for you will happen for you. And yeah,
It's also not your content. It's not
yeah,
like, if it's God speaking through you, and it's
that's
like
right.
you can't take ownership. And that's the level of humility that I think a lot of leaders don't have. Of the like, I'm just the channel. I'm just the vessel. And yes, I'm powerful. And yes, there's some fire shit coming out of my mouth. I'm stoked that it's like coming out. But it's actually something higher than me working through me. And the only reason why it is because I removed all the stuff. So just to say that, like, that's like,
And
whoa, not even.
and still are, right? Like I swear
Yeah.
every so I'm like, shiz, that's coming up again, right? It's like someone's like, how often do you do work? I'm like, I don't know about you, but it's like daily, where you have to be very consciously aware so that your channel can stay clean and clear. And, I'm like constantly asking, am I the one looking through my own eyes? Am I the only one connected into this aura field? Am I moving through all of these energies? Like it's constant. It's not, I had someone tell me the other day, they're like, I've been doing healing for a year and I'm just over it. And I'm like, well, welcome to the ascension journey. Happy hunting.
Yeah. Talk to the
you know?
intentions.
Yeah. Last question. If you could download a soul code into every listener's field right now, what would it be?
Oh my God. Well, my pussy is like on fire. So I feel like that's got something to do with, and not like in a bad way, in a really positive way. Sometimes I say that. I'm like, oh my God, you need to, let me just feel, because actually I want to interpret what this energy, it's like, weirdly enough, there's a few things. So no, the first one that I'm feeling is divine provision, right? Divine provision of like being so held, so supported, so divinely provided for, if and when you're fully in service to your mission. And it's recoding, and I can feel it recoding, of like, you are powerful as fuck creatrix, and you can create everything that you need and are required to do, the more you rest in this feeling of, I'm so supported and it's my job to radiate and just be the vessel. So if you could like literally imagine yourself as an oracle in a temple, and you're the oracle, you're the priestess, you're sitting in the temple, and God is going to bring every single person that needs you to your temple. God is going to like bring you fruits and platters, and there's going to be someone taking care of you and making sure you're always dressed nice and you're taken care of all the time. And all you need to do is devote yourself to your sacred mission. That's the code that I'm sharing because that's the truth. And if you're an oracle, a priestess, you know, I know there's probably men on here as well. I don't want to be sexist, but I think the ones who are really going to resonate with this is like, if you're here to do sacred work, in many lifetimes, that is literally the case. And that's how it was. You were supported infinitely. And so it's like, can you allow yourself to be that oracle, that vessel in the temple, and everything is provided for you so long as you just keep showing up as a vessel? So that's the first one. The second one is like, zero fucks codes, like liberation of just like giving a shit. Like, just, I wish everyone could be liberated from giving a shit what people think. Yeah, for what people think. Stop giving a shit about what people think. Stop giving a shit about what's going to happen tomorrow. Just the ability to like feel so much trust and everything is unfolding that I'm liberated from all of the fear of what if or the torment from the past. So that's what I would share. What would you share? That's a great question.
Um, I would share that the one thing I would really have people do is understand the power of the aspects of your thinking processing and really being conscious about what you're putting your energy actually into. Is this actually going to bring me sovereignty codes? Because I'm right there with you. I feel like this new moon is just really bringing in massive sovereignty codes of there's just this next level of, you know, essentially cutting the cord of no shits, right? Of like, I'm going to just do me and I'm going to move my energy into what source, you know, God energy is bringing for me because this is my mission, right? Like this is why I was here as the matrix disruptor and someone who disrupts systems. And what I would do right now is I would say, choose yourself, make choices that bring you harmony and peace, and anything outside of that is a reflection, right? So if your outer world is chaotic and it's a shit show and you're experiencing a lot of chaos in your life, that's inner work. That's inner work, and that's a direct reflection of just diving into who you are at soul level and figuring out like, once you understand yourself fully enough and someone comes at you with a projection, you can actually stand in your power and say, no, this isn't mine, and know exactly where it comes from in that other person. Understanding that that's sovereignty is understanding that you're going to always have projections from other people. You're always going to have work to do. But the fact of it is how do you honor yourself in those aspects of experiencing where you're at? And just understanding like I love how you brought up earlier about not giving a shit and not comparing yourself, because when you can just figure out that you're magical as fuck and know that that's what you're here to do and just be your magical little self. And I'm just all about like putting pixie dust wherever I go. Whether you like my pixie dust or not, I don't give a shit. I'm an activator. I'm here to activate you. If whether that's with like, you know, softness or whether it's triggering the shit out of you, the fact of it is I'm still activating you. You're still sitting in your space going, I felt that, right? And understanding that people are just a character in your story, helping you to move you into another level of awareness. And knowing that everything can just, you literally just start to understand how your thought processes work and know that everything moves through you like a divine energy, a divine pathway. And just because someone made it to, you know, the end of the pathway faster than you, the GPS is still going to reroute you to whatever direction that you need to be. You can't screw it up.
Yeah, I love that. I completely agree. You can't screw it up.
You
Beautiful.
can screw it up. And I always tell people, they're like, do you think I'm on the right path? Did I make the wrong choice? I'm like, the GPS will reroute you. Don't worry.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. There's no wrong choice. Yep.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Beck, for coming. This has been a great conversation. Can't wait to have you back.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see you next time.
Thank you.